After auditing the finances of hundreds of people, what do you find to be the common thing keeping most people broke?
A lot of people don't understand how interest actually works on their credit cards. And even when they do kind of understand it, since a lot of people, they always say, oh, but I didn't look at it. I don't want to look at it because it's too scary. It's easier to just, let it be and not think about it. They don't know. I call their interest rate out and I'm like, this is 30%. They're like, I thought this was 12%.
Do they even know the difference at that point?
At that point, they do understand. Most of them at least understand that difference. Once they at least understand interest, every once in a while I have to explain interest, and that's okay. But that's definitely the common thread I see throughout is a lot of people want to bury their head in the sand because it just gets so scary. So they just bury, but then it gets worse. And then it ends in the situation where there's been a few guests this year where I don't see anything but bankruptcy being the only option. And, those people specifically where I can't figure out anything on the basic level, we set them up with a financial advisor that we partner with. Well, that is definitely the common thread is they just put their head in the sand. They're scared and it just ends up getting worse. And then they have no idea how bad the debt even is. And not even that. They put their head in the sand so much that they will sit here and they'll say, no, you'll be happy to know that I didn't purchase on that credit card. It's been like 6 months since I purchased on the credit card. I open it, there's like 5 subscriptions renewing. They have no idea.
And are any of those people that you audit that are in really bad financial situations also the type of person to skimp out on small purchases? I feel like you can really draw a line between two kinds of people. The people that are very disciplined with like the small things. Oh, I'm not going to go get a coffee. I'm going to not get avocado. I'm not going to get bacon because it's adding a few dollars. Mm-hmm. And then the other people that are like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Do you see a common thread there where like you really don't see that archetype of human that saves on those small things to be really in financial strife?
I don't see anyone that doesn't get the small purchases. I feel like our show always has the small purchases, and they always think that they're going out to eat like once, twice a week, and then I show them that they get a coffee in the morning and then a vending machine during the day and then a dinner at night almost every day. So it's just they think they're not making small purchases, but they do.
Well, what are small purchases okay? Because I saw some hate that you got maybe about a month or two ago.
Can I guess? Spotify.
Was it that? Yeah, I think it was. You told someone not to do the Spotify when they said, listen, it's like $9 a month or $11 a month. It's like the only thing I enjoy. And you're like, no, you need to cut everything. You have no room for enjoyment.
Yeah.
Looking back, do you think that maybe there was some room for enjoyment or no? Like it's an all or nothing?
I give people, it's not all or nothing. I give people all the time some room. I gave the episode we recorded today, I gave her $20 a month for subscriptions. There are people that I do give room on when they have room. When people are literally going to potentially get evicted from an apartment because they only have $50 left after I give them the most conservative budget. If they have $50 left on a monthly basis, I think they can listen to ads. Now, I mean, do I care if someone gets Spotify specifically? No. It just becomes an example throughout where it's like, hey, we can sacrifice something. It's not about Spotify. Right. It's about the example of we can sacrifice. If they want to keep Spotify, they can keep Spotify.
Yeah. I think your point that I actually agreed with was that they could get Spotify with the ads.
Yeah.
Just listen to the ads.
Or just YouTube. YouTube has everything that Spotify already has.
I do YouTube. Apparently the ads are a lot worse on Spotify. The features on premium, apparently you can't even like skip a lot of songs anymore. Apparently free Spotify is pretty shitty. But again, it's never been about Spotify. The reason why we kind of made Spotify kind of like almost a meme to always call out is because people were good with me telling them to cut back, and the moment they heard Spotify, they would always perk up and almost be offended that
because it seems like the simplest of thing that people should be able to afford. Oh, it's just listening to music. It's not even like television. It's just audible. It's auditory. Yeah. So I feel like really coming after that's like attacking what people like think as like a basic human necessity.
But it's also cheap. When you think of over the course of a month, if you're not getting much enjoyment anywhere else in life but Spotify.
But it's more expensive if you're paying interest on that because you're not paying it off and you're putting it on a credit card.
Even paying 50% interest on $12 a month, like isn't that bad in the big picture? Like if they work an extra hour at their job.
I agree, but I think you would also probably agree with the sentiment that it's not necessarily about the $9.99 and the 50% of that, but it's the string of actions that follows.
Oh, totally.
It's like the whole mentality 100%. Of the $9.99. Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, the $3 Starbucks is not a big deal. Oh, this isn't a big deal, but it adds up.
And that's why I push back on that.
That's why I find it really interesting that you rarely ever see people struggling that are the type to skip out on those small little purchases. Yeah. That's very interesting.
No, we don't get those people. because we only have people on that are struggling, and we never have the people who are trying to be frugal on small purchases.
What have you noticed about human nature, not only auditing the finances of hundreds of people, but also just talking to 500 people that open up to you?
Yeah, definitely some sense of entitlement. And I hate saying that word because a lot of it gets politically charged. When you hear the word entitlement in our culture, it's, politically charged. But a lot of people think that they had a hard day at work and are entitled to pick up the meal. And sure, they can do it. And what I always try to tell people when they're not willing to change on the show, I'm just like, okay, go do it. I don't care. Go do it. But I'm having the conversation of, here's what you should do to actually get your finances in order. But a lot of people, they had a tired day at work. Maybe make it even more complicated with a little extra school, make it even more complicated by having some kids. And it says they deserve the sweet treat, all that stuff. And I want them to get the sweet treat. I want them to spend 30% of their money on their sweet treat once they're out of debt and have a fully funded emergency fund. But I've picked up on a lot of that entitlement, thinking that it's more of a deserve than let's just put in a little bit of sacrifice and then let's get all the sweet treats you want. So lots of.
Where does that come from?
Total guess.
Yeah.
But just based on how I grew up and based on the culture and probably the consumerism culture, our median household income in the United States or our GDP per capita is double the United Kingdom. So it's like we have that extra money more typically than those other countries to just go blow it on things. We see the commercials. We got everything. It's in our culture. No, you get the McDonald's because you want the ice cream, You get it. It's a nice day out. It's just the extra little things. Should have that yearly trip somewhere.
I feel really bad saying this. I genuinely do, but it's just my honest thoughts. So obviously, when we have a guest on the show, we research them a lot. So I was watching a ton of your videos. I'd seen a lot in the past, but I'm just like, I would say rewatching a lot of stuff. And I noticed I kept getting very, honestly, kind of upset, like a little bit angry, because a lot of the guests, like it would be rare for me to feel sympathy for them. And I know this sounds awful to say because these are people in bad situations. They're struggling financially. They're not coming from a good spot. But it seems like, similar to what you said, it's like, because this, because this, because this. And I'm thinking like, is there no sense of personal responsibility for
How far did you make it in the episodes? I'm curious.
I mean, your episodes are long now, like an hour and a half. So I probably watched 6 episodes all the way through. Did you see towards the end though? I feel this doesn't happen for all of them, but a lot of them that I see these days, they really start with that because again, they've never been pushed back on. Also, they've never been on camera. They're literally random people off. They're in the audience typically. I do notice a small resolve at the end after being berated. For like an hour on their finances.
Well, it's because again, they've never had it. They also just. We do story times and stuff and, to get more context on their life. But once you start getting halfway through the document pile, it really starts to set on them how bad it is, worse than they thought it was. And we can see it after the show. And then we film the post show and that's an extra 20 minutes. And you can just see, they're just like, I can't believe how bad that was. I had no idea.
So would you find yourself being sympathetic towards the guests that you have sometimes on your show, or what's the general, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, definitely more sympathy towards the uncontrollables that we talked about earlier.
The uncontrollables, absolutely.
Definitely sympathy towards them. And then, usually we give them an extra helping hand. But sympathy of, I can't get Chick-fil-A after work. A little less. Usually when people have kids and they have to cut back on special things for the kids just temporarily, that's definitely where I feel, more of a heart on that. But when it's just a single person just trying to really grind it out for like a year, that's hard for me to. Actually, I have less sympathy when we get to the end, we make a budget and they have thousands left over. I'm like, this is just there's no reason to be in this kind of debt. You could literally fix this in a few months. And we recorded like 4 of those in a row a few weeks ago. And I was just like, I had no sympathy at the end. It's like, dude, just fucking do this. This is the dumbest thing in the world that you're not doing.
How long does it take to break through to people? And what do you have to do to get to that point?
I start to see it at about 45 minutes into the episode.
Is there anything you're doing in particular? Or it's just like, you gotta like keep like chipping away, and then 45 minutes and they break down.
That seems to be the philosophy. You find the things to relate to them. I learn more things about their family, more things about their personal life, and you can start relating things to it and the consequences of their actions and who they might be affecting. If I learn they have a kid, I demonstrate that older kid's going to feel morally obligated to take care of them at some point if they don't actually get their shit together now, because I don't think any of us would let our parents literally become homeless, if they don't have retirement. But we didn't choose to come to the world either, so it's like, why put that on your kids? So I find something to relate it to, and then chipping away, and usually about 45 minutes in, we're most of the way through the documents, and that's where the numbers really start to stack. So I think it's just all that becomes a little overwhelming, hopefully, and you start to see some emotion, and they even get quieter in that moment usually, and that's when they start to be more receptive to things.
So what are the items that are keeping people poor the most that you notice?
Definitely car loans, big car loans on the show. Some of our, biggest moments are big trucks, big American manly trucks, or someone, they have their Ford
F-150.
Yeah. At a, 7-year, 8-year loan, 25%, so that they can pick up groceries twice a week.
I saw a video, and this is real. This guy got a Lamborghini Gallardo, and he went through his expenses on here's how much it costs to buy a Lamborghini Gallardo. Great car, by the way. Fantastic for resale value. I believe he put almost no money down, but he got a 140-month car loan on this.
12 years?
It's about 12 years. And I was thinking, the average auto loan rate for a used car that's that old, because these cars were built from 2004 to I think it was 2012, something like that, give or take. But for used cars over 4 years old, the interest rates have to be minimum 7%, at the lowest. And I was doing some backwards calculations to figure out how much he's paying in interest over those 12 years. It makes no sense. But
I want to get that guy on the show.
But he has the car.
He has the car.
The thing is, he seemed like a really bright, smart guy.
Okay.
That was the one thing that
maybe he got a super good
loop.
rate somehow, though.
There's no way you're getting a better than 6% on a 12-month. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's crazy. Should get him on.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I always wondered, it would be kind of cool rather than people that apply to go on the show. You just go on the street and just go up to someone working a McDonald's job or something like that and just approach them.
That's so hard.
Because that's a little bit more true, I feel like.
Yeah. Well,
that would be.
It is all true, but it's just, I don't know, because people get on such a big, there is a bit of a moral dilemma.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the people coming on, the amount of onboarding they come on before coming on the show, but we couldn't do that with someone on the street,